Hey guys, I'm Syama, CEO of Scaling Retail, and today we're going to talk a little bit about production lead times and what this means in the evolving landscape of a buying calendar that is likely changing. I know many of you guys have been wondering out there, hearing so many different things about moving back to a two-season buying calendar, wondering what we're going to be doing in terms of, production lead times. Retailers are wanting to buy things closer to the times they need to be in store. What does it all mean for you guys as a vendor and as a brand? It can all be very confusing if you ask me, especially since things have yet to be determined. So depending on where you get your retail news from, chances are you've been hearing a lot of different brands coming out and saying, hey, we want to move back to a two-season fashion calendar, or hey, retailers are saying, hey, we actually need to do something about all the markdowns or all of these, markdowns in the middle of the season because we're getting ready for new merchandise. For a long time, guys, the retail calendar has been quite broken. To sit back and ask yourself, why on earth are we discounting swimsuits in August when it's super hot is ridiculous. Or why are we actually discounting winter coats in February when it's the worst time to be in New York because it's so cold? Beyond me. So when it comes to actually looking at environmental and climate cycles, looking at this purely from that standpoint, it makes so much sense as to why a brand would actually want to be selling the right products at the right time to that customer. So anyway, as things are shifting and changing, as we're relooking at things like markdowns and POSs and reconsidering things around the lines of your production lead times, some important considerations you have to make. Number one, with the growing amount of direct-to-consumer brands, if you plan on staying fully digital, or maybe one day when things kind of get back to a new normal, opening up a retail store, these production timelines and buying cycles really don't mean much to you. And so from a DTC perspective, it's really about being timely with your product and being able to sell it to that customer when they need it. However, to a disadvantage of yours is if you have other sister brands that are selling wholesale, and those wholesale brands, those wholesale customers are discounting those products during peak times of purchasing, then your product might actually look more expensive in a competitive landscape. That product is on markdown, yours is at full price. Why should they buy from you? Your brand provenance, your story, all of that, super important to consider in today's more immediate life cycle. But as we're moving towards, let's say, the wholesale production cycle and what buyers are going to be expecting from you, you will need to spend more time working with manufacturing to figure out truly what those lead times are. Now, my biggest fear is that we will end up with retailers that are asking for product to be purchased just a few weeks or a few months out from when they need to be delivered. This puts a tremendous amount of pressure on manufacturing. Not all brands out there have the leisure and the capability of being able to produce so quickly because of their volume. They might be producing quite limitedly or quite small. If you're a brand that owns your manufacturing cycle, however, chances are that you could just produce whenever you need and you actually end up becoming a great partner to that retail company. So brands out there that are looking to innovate, you might be actually looking at how can I own my own manufacturing supply chain so that I can actually be more adaptive to changing business models and changing needs in this economy, and as we future plan for the future of retail. So when it comes to production lead times and cycles, a couple of things to keep in mind, guys, especially as we're reimagining what this buying calendar looks like. Number one, it's going to be agile, so your relationships are super important. Who you work with now is likely who you'll be negotiating terms with on the future. So please make sure that you're reaching out to your existing manufacturers and your suppliers, because you're going to need them and they're going to need you, but you're really going to need them if all of a sudden your lead windows for orders become quite limited or quite small. So that is the first thing I think you can do. Number two is partner up with your retailers. Very, very important to have open dialogues with these buyers. You want to make sure that you understand what they're looking for. Get a read on it. Is that they want different kinds of SKUs, different kinds of quantities. Very, very important for you to consider the fact that you're going to have to be more agile with these retailers as you're looking to find a way in which your business can thrive and grow. The other thing you can do besides relationships on all ends is really take a look at your product performance, merchandising. Do you carry all the SKUs that you need to? Should you have all of them? Is there an opportunity to be more lean with inventory management as well as SKU and assortment planning? Retailers are going to want to buy from brands that have a unique point of view and that have a certain kind of brand provenance. It has to be authentic. It has to land. So if you're over sorting and you find that you might need to pull back, have those conversations and figure out what direction your business should be going into. All right, guys, that's all from me over here at Scaling Retail. Send us an email at hello@scalingretail.com. Would love to hear from you and love to hear how you are approaching this new buying calendar internally. There's no one answer here, guys, but as a fashion industry, we're getting closer to it. Talk to you soon. Bye.